Yeah.
Are you ready, WIP fam?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in the Metaverse for all to see? Hosted by Matthew and Rizzle with glee. If speakers and alpha be something you wish, then drop into a world you won't want to miss. Ready? The WIP Meetup. The WIP Meetup. The WIP Meetup. The WIP Meetup.
TikTok, motherfucker!
Reddit it a little bit in the past, but it hasn't really been part of my...
Man, Dan Sickles in the house, here to give us an update about his documentary project. New here, really excited to hear about that. And of course, the Afties. So, like I said, this is the last WIP of August. After this, we'll go on a little bit of a late summer vacation for a couple of weeks. We'll be back on the 15th. In the interim, I think Rizzo has some fun things planned with Fly Frogs. More on that later. With that, I'll pass the mic to my dude Rizzle to take it away before we get into these amazing, amazing updates today.
Yo, give me a mic check.
Yeah,
all right.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
You sound good.
Yes, as Matt said, we're taking a couple weeks off. I don't know why. It's the end of the season or something. Matt just said we're taking 2 weeks off. So I was like, all right, sometimes we just end the season because we got to do things and stuff. So Matt's taking a break, but I am not. So I was talking with the Fly Frogs. So in the Matt's flying out of Seoul next week. So yeah, I knew it. With good reason. We need to do real stuff. But so in the WIP time slot for the next couple of weeks, we'll be back with the Fly Frogs. And we're going to do some live tadpole breeding, which we've done in the past. We're going to give away like a bunch of flies and stuff. And actually, we're in Brookhawk's estate in Crypto Voxels now. One of these weeks, we're going to feature Brookhawk and his frogs, and we're going to breed Brookhawk's frogs into tadpoles and like have some sort of contest or something. I don't know. We're going to make tadpole sex jokes and see what comes out. It'll be great. It'll be fun. So even though the WIP is taking a break, we will be back here and doing strange things in the same WIP spirit with the frogs. Let's see. Few housekeeping. I don't have too much. I'm gonna work on some stuff in the next couple weeks. I got like a teaser for some alpha that I can't totally release yet, but it involves Monaverse and Paradox, and it's going to be like a really good thing for the WIP moving forward. Like conversations and things have been discussed and had, and not like, yeah, it's good. It's big. It's good. But it's not like we're, abandoning anyone or anything. But things have been discussed. It's going to be dope. So more on that when we get back. Let's see. So we got, yes, as Matt said, 3 awesome speakers today. Shot clock will be enforced if you are a speaker and you run past like the 4 or 5 minute mark. Samuel L. Jackson will curse at you, and that's how you know it's time to start wrapping it up. Let's see. What else do I got? Join us in CryptoVoxels. Seriously, Brookhawk's estate is incredible, and we shouldn't like wrap this thing up without getting like a quick at least like a bridge tour. I know there's like a billion things to discuss, but maybe like we can figure that out with Brookhawk. But I'm like, we shouldn't just end this thing on the roof. We should, at least see some things and maybe, coordinate with Paradox, because we're going to take a group shot at the end. That's also why it's important that you hop into CV. I'm going to drop the link again, and he'll tell you more about that if you make it that far. There's a guest book in there somewhere. Good things comes to those who sign the guest book. I'm not even sure what it is this week yet. Master Build. Brookhawk is like OG Master Builder. So there's a guest book there. I saw it. Sign it. Something probably happens. Check your hidden things, hidden folders on OpenSea periodically if you've been here. And it's on the wall near the banner. Thank you, show. Let's see. Anything else? I think that's about it. Paradox is going to hit us with a group shot at the end. We're going to pass it on to Show to bring us home for the Afties and call it the end of season. What are we even at? I have no idea. 4B Turtle 7 something. Shout out to Power Whip Girls and the crew who make this weird thing happen every week. It's Carolina Duh, Foxy Yoga, Sandy Meows, Easy, Paradox Show, Timmy, Dragonate, Kongwolf the Stowaway, Brookhawk the Chef, who we are in his presence today. All of these people do awesome stuff and are brilliant in their own right, so you can always hang out with the WIP fam in other places in the metaverse throughout the week, even if you couldn't make it here. So check out all their stuff and follow them and love them and stuff. I think that's about everything, at least for now. If I think of something else, I'll hit you in the end. Who we got up first today, Matt?
We got Chris from Transient Labs. So I think he's here in the chat. Chris, if you're here, unmute and take it away, man.
Guys, appreciate y'all having me. Everybody, my mic good? I know we already did a mic check, but just one more time.
Sanity check. All good, man. You sound really good.
Perfect. All right. Well, good to virtually or over audio meet everybody. I'm Chris Ostich. I'm like the guy said, I'm the COO of Transient Labs. I'll get into that in a minute. By way of background, I'm a career builder, probably kind of an old guy for the space, but this is venture number 12 for me as a founder and or see something. So I've spent the majority of my career kind of bouncing between SaaS, built global event series, then communication protocols, and then went off the deep end, started building businesses with athletes and entertainers, started a venture studio for celebrities to help them kind of like build enterprises on top of their existing platforms. And that was kind of my entree into NFTs. Is, a year and a half ago, everything that I looked at was sort of somebody asking about one of our partners doing some kind of NFT drop. And so I said no to everything. I thought everything looked cash grabby and terrible. And my advice was always like, if we're going to do this, we got to play long ball here. And so that was kind of my entree into the ecosystem. I'm quasi crypto native. I got around in 2017, lost my ass badly. But then when this NFT thing started kind of blossoming 18 months ago, this is a language I understand as kind of an artist first. I'm a musician by trade and studied jazz in college. But yes, this is the kind of thing I understood. I had started my last, after I sold my last company, I had started building a platform to help new collectors get into the NFT ecosystem. And I just happened to run across these two brilliant aerospace engineers, these guys that were formerly building software to shoot stuff into space. So Ben and Marco founded Transient Labs in January of this year, which is weird. Things have gone pretty quickly. Amazing combination of just incredibly talented people. Ben is an artist in his own right. He's a well-known photographer, one of the first on Super Air. Marco is a Solidity dev and engineer, one of the best minds in the space, I believe. And we've really built a kind of a name as a business for, in the beginning, building kind of groundbreaking projects that were enabled by interesting uses of smart contracts. And that's kind of remained an underpinning element of our thesis, is like, there's more we can do here. And so the way you might have seen our stuff is like some of the first dynamic NFTs that have ever been done, or the first book on chain with Neil Strauss, the first issue of Time magazine with Vitalik, done Jeremy Cowart's Block Queens project. So interactive, dynamic, change with time, change with place. We're always trying to kind of push the boundaries of what we think is possible. And so today, Transient Labs is really like two pillars. The company has like a services layer that does project work with, creators, brands, and project owners. So we're always looking for new and interesting uses of technology there. And on the other side of the business, we're building effectively a platform of products and solutions for creators and brands and projects to use going forward, much more scalable way than, traditional services have been implemented. So I'm glad that some of you have seen some of the work that we've done. The Brinkman project was really fun. That was one that we were super proud of. So I was going to talk just very quickly about Shatter as our WIP, and it's technically, everything's always a work in progress. So it is out there in the wild, but we've made some really interesting innovations to that contract recently. So for those of you who are not familiar, Shatter is what we think kind of a revolutionary smart contract, and a mechanic kind of built on top of the 721A. So here's the nuts and bolts behind it. I'll give you some history first. So Ben's a photographer and, one-of-one artist effectively. And as a lot of you probably know, the one-of-one market can be either like very tight and restricted, or very liquid. Things don't move as frequently. And there was always this conversation around what if my one-of-one didn't sell, or what if I sold it to a collector that wants to do something different with it in the future? I don't really have any capability to control that. And so we started experimenting with kind of changing that narrative. And so the idea of Shatter was kind of born there. Shatter is a contract that allows any creator to mint an NFT as a one-of-one. However, inside the contract, there are switches. So you can flip a switch to, at any point in the future, the collector can shatter that one-of-one into an addition piece. So there's a cap set by the creator. So I can say, hey, here's a one-of-one today. The collector collects it for 10 ETH, but then a year from now, maybe I'm more popular. The collector can shatter that piece into an addition of a cap that I set. So maybe it can only be 25 or 50 additions. What was so cool about this in the Brinkman project is that it was a one-of-one that was shattered into 16 unique one-of-ones. And then the piece was collected by PAC. And I don't think, here's a little alpha for everybody here. I don't know if they know this yet, but PAC may not know that there's also a fuse functionality in the contract as well. So a collector in the future that effectively puts all 16 pieces back together can fuse them back into the one-of-one. We think this gives, totally new control to creators, building things in this economy. So if anyone is making work here that you'd like to give that kind of control to both yourself and collectors in the future, hit us on Twitter, get in our DMs, fill out our Shatter form online. We'd love to hear from you.
That's crazy. I did not know about the fuse either. I was talking to Brinkman about this.
He may not know either.
I'm ready to jump in his DMs right now after hearing that. That's crazy, man. Cool. Well, I think we do have a couple questions for you, so I'll pass the mic to our dude show to hit you with those questions.
Hey man, what's going on? Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Hit him with the question and maybe he'll wake up. Chris, you still there?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
So in what way is Shatter groundbreaking in the world of NFT smart contracts compared to others that claim to be on chain or not on chain? What is a chain? For those of us who aren't educated on stuff in the space.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been this kind of modularity in the inside the contract itself. So if I have a piece that I believe is worthy of being collected as a one of one, that's always what it has been. And the only way to change that would be this actually happened recently. So big artist has a one of one collected by a noted collector, and there's not 100 ETH liquidity for that piece right now. However, there's easily 100 ETH of liquidity if there were 100 editions of that piece. So initially, what we were giving creators is the ability to, rather than burning a one of one and then reminting a piece as editions, you can do this inside the contract itself. And so that was one advancement. But then the thing that is revolutionary here is that as we talked about Brian Brinkman's piece, the one of one was an aerial photograph of an interstate exchange. But what happened was when you shatter that piece, it actually turns into 16 unique one of one. So the one piece has 16 behind it, effectively, or hidden inside it. And the collector has the control over when that moment happens. So you have now the ability to create liquidity from something that has historically been kind of illiquid. Two, you can use that in a myriad of ways. So we've seen others that are using this as like as a membership token. We did not expect to see this, but we have a big platform partner that is having their artists mint one of ones on a shatter contract, transfer those to the platform, then they are shattered into editions of 250. If you had tried to send 250 NFTs across chain, you probably know that can be problematically expensive, difficult, etc. So those are a couple of reasons that make this unique in the space. As it relates to like what a chain is, I'm probably not the right guy to sort of give you the nuts and bolts of how blockchains work. I'm mostly an idiot.
Same. I'm an idiot also. Speaking of not knowing things and reading books in order to know things, you mentioned Neil Strauss. In regards to his book, The Game, would you say that, or not would you say, more like how do you feel about nowadays with the current zeitgeist? Most people feel like they think that book was stupid. They only know the term negging or DHV spiking, and they basically felt like it was bullshit and it's watered down. How do you feel about the information that was in that book and how it affects pickup artistry as a whole?
Oh man, wow. Was not expecting that one. I would say that like as now like a father of a 6-year-old girl and 2-year-old twins, like my perspective is much different on the game than it was 10 years ago. I think if you read the game as an instruction manual, then probably not. Maybe not like somebody that I need to give advice to, but if you read it as quasi entertainment and what was at the time kind of something that created a bit of a cultural moment, I think that for what it's worth, like the entertainment might have been worth that exchange of value. So don't take it, that advice that's in the book may be stale, magic tricks and shit. So I'm also, Neil's a great friend of the business, so gotta be sensitive to saying anything negative about a bestseller like The Game.
Amazing. If anyone else has any questions for Chris about Transient Labs, tag him in the channel, hit him up. Really excited to see that project develop and to see what other artists, how they use those tools and mechanisms that Transient Labs is developing. Super, super cool to watch. But Chris, man, thank you so much for jumping on the virtual stage here. Cool. Next up, we have Seb from ZapperFi. Seb, if you're here, I think you're here. I saw you earlier. Unmute your mic. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, man. Really
Let's go.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah,
really
same. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Cool. So whenever you're ready, take it away. Tell us the latest and greatest that y'all cooking up at ZapperFi.
All right. Yeah. So little intro. I'm Seb, co-founder, CEO at Zapper. I think you put it in a pretty good way, saying it's like the browser to the metaverse. So kind of expanding on that, it's like your Web3 Explorer. So being able to explore and search for any NFT collection, search for any DeFi protocol, see memberships in different like DAOs. Like I'd kind of make the analogy of Yahoo in the early internet. It was like this portal that gave you like a picture of all the different kind of areas that the internet served at that time. And right now we are like very early in Web3. So early that there's like 3 major areas that we consider, like I consider to be like parts of Web3. So there's like DeFi, NFTs, and DAOs. I think in the future it's going to be a bit weird that we consider these things as like the main kind of sectors. Like NFTs with time will definitely become much more diverse. They're already kind of doing that. Same thing with DeFi. But our goal is really to kind of make it simple for people to kind of get an accurate overview, being able to explore Web3. Like one big problem that I see a lot of people in the space, and something that is kind of like obvious for people that have stuck here for a while is actually when I first onboarded my girlfriend into Web3, she would go on Uniswap and then go on OpenSea. And when she'd realized that she could see like the ETH she had in both platforms, it like really clicked for her. And it kind of talks to like this pattern that we've had of like using Web2. Is like, you use Facebook and then you use YouTube, and these are platforms that don't talk to each other. It's like super siloed. But now we have this shared network. We have Ethereum, and everything is connected. You have one identity that you can port over from app to app. But one problem is that still like a lot of the front ends kind of don't really surface that. They don't really shine a light on like the interconnected function of the blockchain, which is like one of the most powerful things, right? And when you go on OpenSea, it's just like you get a sliver of the chain, but only looking at NFTs. When you look at DeFi Llama, it's like this thin like sliver, but only looking at DeFi, and they don't talk to each other, but they're both living on the same thing. And so for us, it's how can we kind of shine light and like surface the blockchain to everyone in a consumer-friendly way, like a human readable way, so that they can go like on these rabbit hole journeys. They can go on connected paths. Like I could start on Zapper and search for a collection. Then I find like the top owner of a collection. I click on his account. Then I see some of the investments he has. Perhaps it's in a DeFi protocol. I click on that DeFi protocol. I learn more about it. And then, you can kind of like go on this rabbit hole journey. And that shows also kind of like the interconnected nature of the space. And it's kind of like similar in, the World Wide Web, which is just like hyperlinks connecting everything to each other. And the early web was very fragmented and silent. Like you had to know the URL of the website that you're going to navigate to. And there weren't like a lot of websites that showed or surfaced like how interconnected the web was. And so, yeah, our goal is very similar in nature to that. So servicing the blockchain to everyone in a simple way. What's been like interesting about our journey is that most people will know us more as like a DeFi oriented dashboard. So going a little bit in the story of Zapper is about like in 2019, I started to experiment in DeFi. So, playing around with Uniswap, Compound, Aave, and with time, like I was frustrated by how like fragmented it's. Like I put money on Aave and then it's like in a black box. Like I have to go back to the Aave website to see my portfolio. And so the first use case was really one of like interconnectedness, in the sense that it was pulling all those bounces that I had in those protocols in one interface, which was like the MVP of Zapper. And with time, added more protocols, and then there's like, you should add NFTs. So we added NFTs. And then with time, like we kind of not necessarily pivot away from the portfolio tracker element, but more that we reframed how we view our product goal, in the sense of when we're really thinking about it. It's like we're not actually building a portfolio tracker, we're building an account profile. And a portfolio is like an important element of that, but it's like helping surface your identity via what you own, whether the NFTs you collect, via like the DeFi investments you have, via the DAOs you're a member of. And it's kind of like been this natural path towards building more like an explorer. As I kind of said, like one of the first big use cases of people is like people would look at other accounts. Like they'd be very curious about what others would be investing in versus just looking at their own portfolio. And so, yeah, that's kind of like the story on Zapper, a little bit on the product as well.
Yeah, if anyone has not used it, like please just check out the website, link your wallet, and just if you're using a wallet that you've used for a number of years, be prepared to just see history and probably see some coins and positions that you have not thought about in a long time. And again, like if you've done something on Pool Together, on like Optimism or Polygon, you'll see all those positions too. It's really eye-opening. And I think it's something that I think, Seb, you and the team have done a great job at continuing to add updates and expand it and just show folks what's possible with like a Web3 browser, like you put it. Really excited for what's coming next. But I think our man Sho has some questions for you from the audience, so I'll pass the mic to him to hit you with those questions.
Hey Seb, what's going on?
Hey.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Matthew just said, seriously, Zapper is my go-to tool. I check it every night before I go to sleep, just to stay focused. And I always look over all of my positions and potential positions to hop into. It gave me so much power. And like, this isn't like an ad for Zapper unless you're looking to sponsor the WIP. But I would say that Zapper is literally one of the strongest weapons that we have as degens in the space. So shout out to you for that. Yeah, I mean, I've been
Thank
using
you.
it
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, of course. I've been using it from the moment it launched, actually. So actually, shout out to DeFi Dad for that alpha.
Oh wow.
He was the one that put me on. Yeah, and it's been great. Okay, so there's so many questions though. What would you say is your biggest hurdle or problem or obstacle that you feel the platform needs to overcome in order for you to reach your goals?
More engineers, for sure. But like, yeah, definitely more engineers. But like, really, to answer your question, what's really difficult for us, and it feels like we're really like at the forefront of like indexing everything. And so like the big challenge for us is, you can imagine like what's on chain, like on Ethereum, being very like low level, hard to read data for most people. And for us, it's always been how can we contextualize that without it losing its meaning, but contextualize it to make it easy for people to understand. And what's really hard is scaling that, right? There's so many DeFi apps out there. There's so many like different applications, like in gaming and whatever, like any type of transaction that can exist, basically, can be contextualized. And that goes beyond the scope of what our team can do, right? And so it's how can we scale it? And a lot of it has been thinking around how do we involve the community in this? Like, do we open source it? Like, what's the best strategy for us to, be able to contextualize every transaction, every type of app, so they're surfaced in like this human readable way on the application. Something we launched recently is called Zapper Studio. And with Zapper Studio, people are able, like devs, are able to build on top of Zapper and like add their own app. So like those are, steps in that direction. But I definitely think like the hardest part is figuring it out, like how we can scale. Because initially we were just like hammering out ourselves integrations. Like there's a new app, we just do it in-house. But quickly with time, realize it's like, we'd just be, we'd never be able to really catch up. And it's not really like something you can win by just like hiring more people. It's just like not a solvable problem by throwing more people at it. It's like the kind of thing where you have to, involve a community or like go more like a user generated model. And so that's been like probably the toughest thing for us is scaling those initiatives.
That's cool. For the sake of time, I'm going to combine 3 questions into one really long one. Okay. In regards to security, what steps is the Zapper team taking in order to make sure that the platform isn't hacked and puts people at risk? Will there be a token for Zapper users retroactively paid out? And when someone makes an offer on, let's say, OpenSea on an NFT, is that what's reflected as the value of an NFT on the Zapper platform? For example, someone makes $1 million offer, but the NFT is not worth $1 million, but it's reflected as $1 million on the platform. Mm-hmm. Is that where the value is taken from, or is it from its last sale? A lot of things here.
Yeah. So first question on security. I mean, like, of course, like on Escape, we take security at heart, but like go deeper in your question, like I think one in particular that we're really mindful of is not necessarily security per se, but like privacy. And it kind of stems back from how we built Zapper initially. Like initially Zapper was just a front end built directly on top of like Ethereum nodes. And so there wasn't like a back end kind of handling information. Unfortunately, we weren't able to scale that, but we've always, built in the direction that we make like very privacy oriented. Like, and some of the examples are like when you have like a bundle on Zapper, like where you add addresses, those are like stored locally. They're not anywhere, like nobody could figure out which wallets are yours unless you decide to like share that or like follow people. So those are things we do like on the privacy standpoint. Then on like the security side, so any type of transaction on Zapper, like we take extra care into, because we do realize that trust is one of the most important things and it could be very easy to lose. And so we prefer to be very slow on the transaction side. Like product-wise, I'd consider us to be very fast on features, but generally on transactions, like we do take our time. We vet partners that we work with. And then on the front-end side, I mean, that's a huge problem of like front ends getting hacked or like someone getting control over the domain. And there's like no like honestly, and I'm transparent, like it's very hard to find like good solutions. Some of them come from like the workplace not having enough internal controls. So like it's kind of thing where we try to do our best to prevent any type of like leaking on that side, or like making the code like nobody can introduce like a backdoor in our code and things like that. So it is a tough problem, but we are trying to make it as secure as possible. Then your second question. What was your second question? I forgot. Oh, token. Was that the question?
Yeah, it was when token.
Okay. I think like I kind
sorry, I
of
was
like
muted.
always yeah.
Sorry.
I think like my I always kind of like ignore that question automatically, so it's kind of funny that I like forgot that was the second question. But no, but seriously on that question, like obviously I can't give an answer on that. One thing I can say is like we're thinking like long term of Zapper, like what we do. Is it like, do we want to go like the traditional public route or like company route, or do we want to go like the Wild West Web3 route? And I definitely say we gravitate more towards the Wild West Web3 native route. It's more like who we are, who the people that work here are. And not to say like we've taken any decision on it currently, but like just to show kind of like philosophy. And we're also being very mindful of like our goal isn't to do a token in the sense that our goal is to solve a problem and help people navigate the space. Like ultimately that's like our North Star. And if a token helps us, then yeah, we'd consider it. If it doesn't, we won't consider it. Like our goal is really like, we're really focused on that. And, that can kind of like help shine like a bit of a light on like how we think about this. But yeah, that's for that question. And then the third one is estimated values. Estimated values, we don't take offers at all into account. We use the last sales. And so if, say you have a pudgy penguin and there's like 7 traits, we look at each individual trait and then look at the last sales for that trait and then build like this time-weighted average to kind of estimate how much is that trait worth. Because usually when there's a sale of an NFT, there's like a leading trait, or there's a trait in particular that the sale should be anchored to. And so that helps us kind of isolate of a sale which trait kind of led it. There's some cases where there's like many traits that lead, but usually they're like the exception. Most of the time it's like you buy a Nizuki because it has like a spirit trait. You buy a punk because it's a ape punk. So usually there's always a trait that leads a sale, and that's kind of like how we do it. So it's purely sales, no floors. We don't even use the rarity, and no offers. It's really just last sales.
Well done fielding those questions, Seb. And I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to have you up here. And this is like a love fest for Zapper, but it's really cool to see and feel the love for your products. Hope you come back when you have more updates too. You always have home here at the WIP. And yeah, thank you just so much for your time and sharing everything that you're doing here at the WIP with us today.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'll try to be here more for sure.
Very cool. And last but certainly not least, we have our man Dan Sickles in the house. Dan, thank you so much for waiting. Really excited to hear the update on the documentary that I've heard everyone not stop talking about since I first heard about it this year. So whenever you're ready, unmute.
Yo, thank you. Can you guys hear me? I am unmuted now.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. First, thank you all so much for having me, like Rizzle, Matthew, and the whole team. Like, I really appreciate you guys putting this together and inviting me. Zapper, love you guys. Transient, I know your work. You guys do great work as well. So it's really cool to be on a stage with you and at this event, which has been held consistently for a while, and that's not easy to do in the metaverse. So thank you guys. I love hopping into voxels with you all and seeing familiar names. But yeah, I'm here to talk about the film that I've been working on for a bit over a year now. The title is I'm New Here, but we're sort of referring to the entire ecosystem of the project as New Here. And for anybody hanging at their browser right now, I definitely encourage you to hop on our site. It's just newhere.xyz. And you can sort of check out what the film is doing, what it's about, who our cast is. But, to give you a bit of that breakdown, I'm really working to capture the story of this emergent space and the potential there within in sort of the most dignified and honorable way possible. My background comes from nonfiction. I've been making nonfiction film for over a decade now. I typically work with invisible and marginalized communities. That's where a lot of my work comes from. My first film, Mala Mala, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival and did quite well there. Won an audience award there. And then my second film, called Dina, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2017 and actually ended up winning that festival, which was pretty insane, a wild experience. Both of those films are available online, and I'm super happy to send anybody links who doesn't have access to them to sort of get a vibe for what my work is about and how I approach sort of storytelling in the nonfiction genre. It's pretty atypical, and that's really what I'm looking to do here. The way I'm telling this story, I mean, to sort of say that you're trying to make a film about crypto art and the history of crypto art, it's insane. And anyone who's in the space kind of knows that could mean everything and nothing, But for me, the way in which I'm framing this experience and this story is really from the perspective of a new user diving into the rabbit hole. Being seduced by the space in a similar way to a lot of us, how a lot of us came into it, and then just falling deeper and deeper and deeper into the deep end, and meeting all of these incredible people who have laid the foundation of this space. And, I spent the past, I want to say, 16 months or so really piecing together what this can look like. Our journey is not done. I want to reiterate that for people in this room. Like, I have plenty of people still to talk to. We're going to take another trip to Europe. There's a few other countries that we're going to be visiting. But, in the past 10 months since we've actually started production, I've been fortunate enough to actually talk to Ben Nolan, obviously the guy who created Voxels. Rizzle has sat with me for about 2 hours, which was one of the most educational moments of production for me. Also have been able to film with Stella Bell, Robness, Max Osiris, Jason Bailey, Mocha, both Mochas, Benoit and Titien are both in the film, and then I'm working with Colburn as well. Then other people like Da Vinci, Eric Calderon, obviously Claire Silver, Tyler Hobbs, and then I've been fortunate enough to actually film with the guys who created blockchain technology in 1989, Scott Stornetta and Stuart Haber. So really, like, our story starts from verifying and authenticating digital objects all the way through the culture of what these objects are, what they were when a lot of this crew started making them a few years ago, up until what they kind of are today, and how the tone has sort of changed in that time. But a lot of the bulk of the film really lies with the heart of this group, what a lot of you guys are doing now, and what you've built. And the passion here, sort of before the money showed up and before the VCs came in, and the before of it all. I think that there's so much to capture and mythologize and share with the world to make this place a bit less scary and more approachable. Because there's a lot of goodness here, and I just don't see it in the mainstream media, and I feel like there's kind of a gap right now between the people who are in this space and totally get it, and the people who have yet to hop into voxels, have yet to buy an NFT, have yet to sort of jump into discovering crypto art for themselves. So that is really sort of like the long and the short of what I'm after. My team is incredible. I put together like an unbelievable team to do this. Bruce is in this chat, one of my producers. I believe the Crypt Keeper is here. I think Hannah is here as well. Bruce is an incredible DP and metaverse builder. Y'all know him as Chill Zone. He is also an incredible director, New York Times critic pick, an incredible resume. I'm also working with Shane Boris as one of my producers, who's an Academy Award nominated producer. He's made some incredible politically sort of bent films, and they're unbelievable. And to have his voice with us for this, to make sure that our argument and our thesis is really substantial for mainstream audiences as to why this is relevant in their lives, is awesome. I think I'm running out of time, so I think I'm going to try and chill for like a little bit. I'm really the worst at doing this, but our mint is open right now. We were doing a tiered mint, and we've sort of been working from sort of like our bigger partners down to individuals. And right now we have 3 of those 4 tiers open. I encourage you to check them out. We need the support of the community in order to make this film the best that it can be. And one fun thing actually right now is you can actually join the drop. What we're doing is we're taking all of the iconic traits from the people who have contributed their time to the film: Rizzle, Ben Nolan, Eric Calderon, Claire Silver, all these crazy, amazing people, and we're generating 10,000 avatars using all of their traits. So you might get a combo of Rizzle and Rob Ness, which I'm very much looking forward to personally, and Art Gnome, And what you can do right now is you can actually go in and you can add yourself to the collection. I don't have time to sort of get to everybody in the community right now for filming, but for us, it really is a statement of support, hopping in and being like, yo, I'm here, I am adding my avatar, working with our artist to actually generate it yourself, and then adding your traits to our drop. Like your traits will actually appear on other characters throughout the drop. For me, it's like an incredibly organic way of joining what we're after and showing your support. And I would love for y'all to check that out. And if there are any questions, definitely hop into our Discord. My DMs are open, all of that. And even beyond buying anything, I'm here to meet y'all. I have spent hours doing this over the past year, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. I think even when this film is done, we will still be holed up in a studio somewhere doing interviews with the incredible minds in this space, and that's really what I've found that I love to do. So thank you, Samuel L. Jackson, for that wonderful outro. But yeah, definitely check out the site, newhere.xyz. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Amazing. And stay just a little bit longer so we can hit you with those questions.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Dan, what's going on?
Hello.
You've had success at Sundance with your film, Dina. How difficult is the submission process for getting a movie based on crypto art, which is new here, into Sundance for 2023? Is it as difficult or worth the hassle as it was years ago? And also, should you already be courting A24 or Lionsgate or Hulu before you even step into Utah?
Did someone tell you something? So we are courting a few people. There's like lots of interest from like the traditional independent studios. I'm not gonna lie, but what happens there a lot of the time is like they'll come in sort of like 3/4 of the way through production and be like, cool, like in order for us to join up with you, we get to own all the footage, right? And negotiating sort of bespoke deals that acknowledge this new space. And making sure that like we as a collective get to own that footage. We as a collective get to house that footage and potentially access it in an archive built for Web3. That's just as equally important to me and my team. So it's important for us not to take money from anybody who's going to cage us up or back us into any corners just yet. As for Sundance, I fucking love Sundance. Like it's an incredible festival. I've also premiered at Cannes. I've premiered at, again, Tribeca. My producers have lots of experience elsewhere at Berlin, Venice. They're all great, and like they're all a blast. I'm a bit agnostic when it comes to a particular festival. I'm also like not necessarily tied to premiering this at a festival. I think that like having an actual physical premiere would be dope. Like I definitely want this reunion to happen in the flesh with everybody who contributed to the film and supported it and gave their time, and like that sort of celebration is. There's no way to match it when it happens. I've been there for 2 premieres for my films right now, and I wouldn't give anything for the world, to sort of replace that. But yeah, I think that we just want to keep building this organically. Like I'm still flirting with, some of the production companies that you mentioned. They are flirting back. But I think that there's a lot of education that needs to be done as to like, hey, like how can you guys come in a way that's mutually beneficial and not extractive? That goes for a lot of these production companies. It definitely goes for the streamers. So I just want to make sure that all the information that we've been picking up together as a collective, as this network, is also protected and is accessible to us.
That's cool. We also have a question from Hidden Forces. He would like to know which NFT should he buy in order to have 15 seconds of screen time, and also will Samuel L. Jackson be making an appearance in New Here?
I can't guarantee Samuel L. I can offer up Connie Digital, who I still need to get in touch with about what exactly that appearance is. And potentially another very, very, very well-known rapper who we all know has made appearances on multiple stages within this context. That is what I can offer right now for sure. When it comes to purchasing avatars and stuff like that, definitely encourage you to look at sort of the different tiers. There's obviously a crypto producer tier, which, I definitely want to mess with those avatars for some interstitials, give that avatar some lines for sure. But then for the 1 ETH, build your own avatar build, those avatars are all going to be included in the film, definitely in a class photo towards the end, sort of like we do in crypto voxels now, but then also probably in other ways that I'm figuring out as I'm writing it. Motherfucker! Yeah, motherfucker!
Samuel just keeps popping up in there.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I got to call him and thank him for being here. He's a busy man. I didn't expect him to be at the WIP.
There he is again. There we go. Dan, thank you so much, man, for jumping up on the stage here and just for your energy and positive force in this space. Telling these stories, meeting with everyone, spreading the good word. It's everything. It honestly is everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really love this space, and I found my way to it off the back of a really shitty experience with a streamer, to be honest, and I came into it being wow, this can be empowering, and you can make it work, and you can create your own value systems just like this here, that where you're actually supporting each other and you're actually building things, organically with other people who are authentic. And that's what I love about it. That's what I'm looking forward to celebrate about this space. I'm excited to show other people what's going on here and the goodness of that, So thank you guys for having me, for real.
Amen, man. Amen. Cool. Well, with that, I think, do we pass the mic to Paradox and have him lead us to a group shot before taking a tour with Brookhawk in the Brookhaven estate? Is that the plan?
Probably. Hang on, I got a couple things I missed. I neglected to mention in the beginning. So our buddies Jack's Hideaway Records are having a performance tonight in Crypto Voxels. It's 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. You're gonna have to do the UTC math. But what Jack's Hideaway is doing is broadcasting their Crypto Voxels spot live into their in real life spot. So if you're around and up at that time, it's a great opportunity to photobomb this event. They have encouraged us to photobomb this event. We've been there before at this record spot. So if you want to, hop in an inner tube, photobomb this jazz festival, and get down later on. So let's see. Carolina dropped the link for the PO-op, so don't forget to grab that. It's a nice one. I was trying to multitask while listening to the end of Dan's thing. And I also neglected to mention that for the 4 people who care, I did avenge myself in Crypto Art Mario Kart and beat Johan last week, and I needed to mention that publicly. Brookhawk, if Brookhawk is around, he should lead us somewhere cool. I see his mic is whacked. I don't want to put him on the spot if he's not in a space where he can talk or whatever, but I'll at least unwhack him and give him the opportunity. And then maybe he can show us something, and that's where we take the Paradox shot. Brookhawk, you're good in the sense that we're good. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let me get over into Crypto Voxels here. All
I'm gonna
right.
drop I'm gonna drop a direct link while we're getting there here. So this is at least where I'm at. So maybe we can congregate here on the roof, and Brookhawk can lead us somewhere.
Okay. So yeah, I'm in the front by the right in front of the screen over here. If you want to start from over here, I mean, I guess I'll just show you a couple things in the back, and then maybe we'll take the picture by the pool because we can't really do the front. It'll be too much stuff to do right now, I guess. So tell me when we're ready to move out.
Yep, let's do it, man. That sounds great.
All right. Everyone see me with the pigeon on my head over here. So I'm gonna walk. First of all, I'm over here by our WIP crew picture from NFT NYC, kind of stylized on the wall over here. What up, WIP fam? So I'm walking into this side area here. There's another picture of a WIP on the back wall over there that I made. I'll just show you a couple things back here. This was a new build. This is a new part of the build that maybe you didn't see on the previous tours. This is just some. I started putting some OG art towards this back area that I kind of rebuilt recently. It's Shortcut. Everyone knows Shortcut. A lot of money. Wizard X, Metageist, Skeeny, and here's a Gazer from Matt Kane. So I got this. So this whole thing that we're standing in right now is on top of a road, in between the parcels. So that's kind of really got a good use out of that. And then we'll go down the steps here. This whole back was rebuilt a little while back in the spring. So this is another shortcut over here. And up on the wall, up on the top there, that's a new thing I got. That's by Lover Worldwide, Elisa. She did this VR remake of a Stella piece, which was pretty cool, which I picked up recently, and I got up on the wall there. So maybe we'll just go upstairs here. I'll go through here, and I'll show you what this new stuff is. Oh, this is real cool. This is this spinny thing here. I think a lot of you know Gazelle gives out these in real life slides that are also NFTs. So I was so fortunate to get one of those at the at NYC NFT in June, and so I kind of put the image here and I'm spinning it. That's what the NFT looks like, and I have the actual slide of that in my possession, which is awesome. And this is Gazelle's blueprint over here, and which is still minting. A lot of blueprints are still minting. I gotta talk about this here. Silja, this is her. She's got a whole series on AD. What is it called? AHD. That she has been putting out. She's been doing a lot of work on that and spreading a lot of awareness. So I picked up that piece, and it's up on the wall there. And in this little room over here, I have Coldy's. That's one of the first blueprints, and Rutger Vandertas, his blueprint over here in the corner. So I guess I'll just. Oh, here's hiding over here by staircase is Jason Duckman's his Lost Souls series that he did on Nifty Gateway, which is real cool. I got a few of those, and there's a cat, Christy Glass. There's like a lot of my favorites, OGs that I put back here in this area. So I guess you guys come back anytime, explore all back here, the outside and the river. I think you all see out the window over here. I guess quickly pop out and pay homage real quick to the Rizzle totem. That's the Rizzle totem. There's two of them on the river here. That's the one of one that I gave Rizzle on his birthday last year. So he has the only actual wearable of that. but these are just here. So when I come and reflect and look for inner peace, I come here and I be at one with the Rizzle Totem, and I really suggest everyone do that. Maybe this is a good place to take the picture, because I don't want to take up too much time for you guys. So let's take the picture. Is that good, Paradox, with the Rizzle Totem? Would that be a good spot?
Yeah, man. Looks good to me.
All right.
Do you want to direct everyone?
Yeah. So if everyone comes out like one of the doors here, you see this fake sky here. This is below the other room where the Matt Cain piece was. So this is actually how I utilize some space here to make this look like it's more open. But this is actually the bottom of the other layer. So I'm over here by the Rizzle Totem. There's two of them. We're on the one over here where most of the people are standing, and yeah. So I guess face the bridge, and you know what? Is this open enough for you, Paradox? Or where you can see everyone, or is it
Maybe not. Why don't we have everybody jump on the bridge, and then you've kind of got the totem in the background.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, let's just get on the bridge, and then well, you could just direct us from here, Paradox. My directing skills are not good. You and Dan are here, so I can't direct a video. So
it's all good, man. Right, Dragonate, you may as... Actually, we can't do this without the intro, so Dragonate,
yeah, thank you.
whenever you're ready.
I was about to hop in here and save us for the proper protocol. Thank you.
Go for it, Dragonate.
Just a humble cameraman looking for a tiny bit of attention. It's me, Paradox. Get your asses in line and smile for the fucking camera. No one cares about Matthew and Rizzle, that's for sure. It's about me, Paradox. I'm taking over the show.
Okay, so keeping with proper protocols. So, firstly, I love this parcel. It's great. Brookhawk is a master builder, and it's great to see everyone here. And if you've not been listening, I am the Paradox, the peasant, the Paradox. I'm the resident WIP videographer. So this is the point where we take a group photo and a little bit of video. If you're not in World, this is your chance to get involved. So somebody can drop a link. Thank you very much. Easy. Okay, cool. So yeah, Dragonate, pump the music a little bit, and we'll get started. Get a couple of close shots. Lovely shot, Stina. Just getting one more last shot to keep the music going. Excellent. Okay, beautiful. Well, that's it for me. Dragonate, bring the music down a little bit, please. Excellent. Okay, cool. So the only thing left for me to say is that every week I edit these videos together and we make a weekly video for the WIP. That is put out on Rizzle's Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. And I think that is it. Cool. So back to the studio, back to Rizzle. Cheers, guys. Thanks, Brookhawk.
Yo, thank you very much, Paradox. Thank you to the WIP crew, WIP fam, everybody for coming out strong every single week. Like we were saying in the beginning, we're going to take a couple weeks off because it is the end of whatever season this is. And but we'll be back in the same time slot to do some fun Fly Frog events and make some tadpoles and keep the same thing going in some other sense or something. It's not the same thing, but it'll be fun. Just show up, same time next week. Fun stuff. Let's see. I think that's everything. Matt can correct me if I'm wrong. Hop in here real quick. But otherwise, it's been fun as always. Thanks to all of our speakers. And I think we can pass it right over to the show. Matt, anything we missed?
Wait, is this thing on? Yeah! Yeah!
It's time for the FTs.
Hot takes, opinions, thoughts. Let's go! Yeah. Adjust your speakers, adjust your volume. If you're brand new to what's about to happen, just trust me. Adjust your speakers, adjust your volume. Then you can turn it back up or raise it a little bit or halfway or full as this thing goes on. All right? Just trust me, okay? It's all about trust. It's all about trust. Yeah. Yeah. WIP fam. WIP fam. WIP fam, I'm relieved. I'm unstressed. De-stressed. Not distressed. I'm no longer in distress. I am de-stressed. Whatever the opposite of stress is, I'm not that anymore. Or I'm that, or you know, I'm forgiven. Right? Forgive me because I'm forgiven. I've been forgiven, y'all. I don't know what the fuck I've done wrong, but Joe Biden, President of the United States, believes that I deserve to be forgiven. Forgiven for the crime of wanting an education. Forgiven for the crime of requesting help from the free application of federal student loans. Forgiven for the egregious crime of taking the money to offset the high cost of classes and textbooks that I don't even fucking remember at this point of my life. Forgiven for not working a 9-to-5 long enough, 20 years at least, is what I'm calculating, for $17.35 in post-recession New York City to pay back the Department of Education without being educated on the fact that I was encouraged / forced to take out a predatory loan that my business / economics 101 class didn't choose to enlighten me about, because that info on the last page of the class directory book under miscellaneous directives was not clear enough. I've been forgiven for not being able to convince companies to hire me during interviews by not smiling hard enough when they mention my GPA off of my resume is a 3.24, so clearly I'm too dumb to fold fucking clothes at Uniqlo. I've been forgiven for not being able to click fast enough on the Monster.com website when they ask me when they ask me to attach a PDF version of my university diploma, because I first need to take a picture of it and then upload it and then convert it from a JPEG into a PDF, but the quality of the image is really low, so it's blurry, but I show them it anyway, along with lying to them that I'm proficient in Photoshop, Microsoft Excel, and that I'm a team player who works well with others because we're a family at this massive corporation, right? I've been forgiven for being told by my parents' generation that by going to college, you were automatically guaranteed a job because that's what they were told in random dumbass commercials in the 60s and 70s and 80s, right? Even though they never went to college and resent the fact that I had the ability to go to college because of them working their 9 to 5, but they hated it because they thought that I was smart, that I was too smart just because I was in kindergarten and I was able to put the square peg into the square hole. WIP fam, I've been forgiven. Whew. And I can finally live my life and start considering to finally take a shower or pay my taxes, which are equally scary. Thank you. Welcome to the Afties, y'all. I'm your host, Show. You already know. If you don't know, you will know by the end of this thing that I just did. The end of this thing that I just did. Clearly, education is not at a premium. Education is doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make you any sense, any proverbial sense on the dollar. Shit. Not all debt is good debt. Speaking of debt, I don't owe a debt to you, motherfuckers. I've been forgiven. I've been absolved. So, in the spirit of not owing any more debt, y'all, I want you to provide a hot take or an opinion in regards to the three presenters that just presented. You're not obligated, you're not in debt towards making a hot take or an opinion, but it would behoove you to provide one. The Department of Education doesn't care if you add if your hot take is grammatically correct, or if you're cursing too much and turning people off in the voice channel, or if they're judging you in the back of the classroom when secretly they want to have sex with you, but they're looking for an excuse to disrespect you and then like steal your energy and make you seem lesser, so you come down to their level so they're able to date you without feeling like you're out of their league. Yeah? First subject. Shout out to Transient Labs for coming through. Here's my hot take or an opinion. At this point, I don't know if I want to mint things. I don't know if I want to use a chain and mint things. Everything seems stagnant. I'm relieved. I don't want to mint things because my the thing that kept me up at night and that would wake me up in the morning was the debt to the Department of Education, and now that it's dissolved, there's no motivation to mint offer on-chain. Thoughts?
You are lazy as hell.
Don't judge me. I went to college. Don't judge me.
And this is
Pay up.
No. Listen, all I have to do is consolidate everything, keep deferring, right? Rehabilitating, right? And I could just wait till one day a president of the United States who wants to look good on the midterms of their for the midterm portion of their term, their 4-year term, they'll do something where they offer relief in the form of not even a quarter of the amount that people need in order to absolve a predatory debt that was provided 4 generations ago. They kept passing the buck, shitting downhill, or whatever those terms were.
Isn't that debt relief also taxed as income? For real. Someone was talking about it the other day. I was like, damn, that's some fucking brutal relief.
Why? Well, no, not why. I'm not going to make this rhetorical. I'm going to flip this. It's clear that education, being at such a high premium, has caused people to not want to do it, or do it but not be educated well enough, right? And then come out of this whole thing not being equipped enough in order to recognize when the government is doing something where they're going to implement another predatory loan in the form of saying, hey, we're going to offer you relief, but what we really need is for you to pay up more. So we're going to tax you on this thing later on down the line without you realizing it. Why? Because we didn't educate you anyway. You're not smart enough to see how this is going to affect you in the long run. We just did it to you before. You were gullible enough to fucking ask for the equivalent of a 360 deal in the music business, but make it education. Spend years trying to pay this shit back. We're like, you're already a sucker anyway. We're going to do it again. We're going to bleed you dry. It's inflation.
I have a solution. Just skip school. Don't go.
I did that. I slept during Spanish class. And shout out to my homegirls who would take notes for me, and then when the class was over, they would give me all the notes and shit. I was doing
Very
things.
nice of them.
I was doing things.
I think you definitely owe them a lot for doing that.
Well, the thing was, I wasn't able to pay them back because the Department of Education said that I had like 90% interest on some shit that I received from FAFSA, and it wasn't the right grant. It was like the Thomas Edison grant as opposed to being the Sally Jesse Raphael grant. You know, it was like something about shout out to the comedian Jenna Mae Peluso. It was the Peluso grant. But it was also the Pelosi grant, and apparently you're not eligible for the relief if you don't have the Nancy Pelosi grant or some shit like that.
Spinning tits on a stick.
Exactly, exactly.
You can't feel freedom unless you wear these shackles for a little while, man. That's just how it is. Put them on.
Have you ever tried to walk to the bathroom with your tighty whities around your ankles? The hard crusted white underwear that you refuse to take off, that you wore throughout the entire pandemic, that you refused to wash because they were lucky. And then
this feels like a bit of an evasive question.
When you decide to go to the bathroom and they're wrapped around your swollen ankles, your soft swollen ankles, those are like shackles. You can't walk. Have you felt what that's like? That's the
Sir,
same thing.
I don't answer questions.
It was rhetorical. I'm painting a picture for you. Do you know what that's like? Clearly you don't. But I'm insinuating that you don't. I'm insinuating that you don't because I want you to picture in your mind's eye, which is something that the Department of Education doesn't want you to do. The Department of Education doesn't want you to think or feel things. That's why you have to raise your hand and ask for a bathroom pass, because when you finally pull your crusty tighty whities down around your ankles in order to use the urinal, then it's like you can't. They don't want you to relieve yourself in any kind of way.
Except on the floor so that they can beat you with a stick or laugh at you.
Moving on. Shout out to Zapper. Shout out to Zeb from Zapper. I was ignored by their CEO on Twitter randomly. I sent a DM. I don't know what it is. Like I send DMs to people, you know, and they like ignore me. I'm showing love. Like I sent a DM to Natalie Crew.
Spam.
She ignored me, and I was like, hey, like, come on, like I love what you're doing. She didn't even fucking read it. Same thing with the CEO of Zapper. I was like, hey man, look, I love what you're doing. And he totally just like, I'm just like, you know what? I get it. I get it. Look, we're on different paths. All right. I have a BFA in theater. You probably have a BA, not BA. You have whatever the communications degree is, or the computer science degree. You have a BS in computer science or some shit, you know. And I get it. My point is this, right? If I could have skipped the entire college process, because my first year in college was totally traumatic as fuck. I was in a cold fucking city on the border, the edge of Canada. It was racist as fuck. Everybody was racist. The food was terrible. The girls were terrible. It was not the freshman college experience that I wanted. There were bugs everywhere, not the good kind. You couldn't get away from them. You had to burn your bed and everything else. And there were jealous motherfuckers who I had to go to war with physically. If I could have skipped it all and ended up in Web3, and I could have had a portfolio, if I had a portfolio for my life to look at all of the fucked up positions that I could have gotten into, if I could have equated my life in the form of DeFi and looked at the positions and see how things are, because I do have like a third eye gift for seeing shit that's fucked up, then maybe I would have avoided going to all these dumbass fucking places in the first place. Thoughts?
I mean, if you expose your third eye to people, they typically don't want you around them. So yeah, I'd say you're probably right.
Piggybacking off of It's Carolina Duh, I had blue balls during freshman year. So the freshman 15 wasn't in my belly, it was between my legs. Things got chunky. Speaking of which, things got heavy and it was unnecessary. It was like there was so much drama. These are teens that were preteens that became teens and came of age in their freshman year of college, and it was like leave me out of your shit. Leave me out of your shit. These college dramas. It's like I don't know you. I don't want to be involved. I was like, I want to go home. So it was been 20 years since that shit fucking happened. And I'm like, still traumatized. Thoughts?
They shoved your head in the toilet, didn't they?
No. I was a fighter.
Live.
But I just wish that I fought. I just wish that I fought to even go. Maybe if I had like a fucking, if I just had a computer interface that like evaluated all of the colleges, or even the guidance counselor who fucking recommended that I go to that place, but really is because they had affirmative action, as if I needed this shit. Like I was like, are you kidding me? Like they're like, yeah, so this affirmative action program is for troubled youths. I was like, bitch, I intentionally fell asleep in high school because I hated it. I was kicking ass because I already knew what I wanted to be. I was already like a fucking luminary in the theater world as a youngin'. I didn't need this shit. If I had a platform that just told me what was wrong, then I would have survived and made it to, I could have just jumped the line straight to Web3. Thoughts?
How did I know that would be exactly how you responded to her? Starting with that first word.
No. I didn't actually. I don't refer to women as bitches. It's a term that's like it speaks to an energy. It's not derogatory towards a gender.
I say it to about just people who are that. So
it's an energy thing, which
Yeah.
I wish was taught during, like some of my courses, that, you respond to energies. If you're able to read an energy, then you're able to you're not being prejudiced. Don't be prejudiced. Don't be like the cops in the early aughts, in the 2000s in New York City. Don't stop and sniff, or whatever the fuck it was. Don't scratch and sniff. That's what they were doing. They were stopping random people on the street, and they were like squeezing their balls to see if they were carrying marijuana in their
That sounds
underwear
like
in
a
the
good
city.
job.
I kid you not. I mean, shit, they were shoving brooms up people's asses in the 90s.
Did they
Like, you
get
think
paid?
I'm lying? I guess the police athletic league, or whatever the fuck is their union, was all about that shit. My point being is that we're moving on. Last but not least, shout out to Dan Sickles. Here's my hot take. If there was more education about the process of submitting things to festivals, then there would be no need to go to college. You go to college to study film. You just sit and you watch film and then discuss it and analyze it. You could do this. We do the same shit with our significant others. Where do you think Netflix and chill came from? You were Netflixing and chilling in a college classroom. They paid you. I mean, excuse me. No. You paid them. You were in debt. You paid them in order to Netflix and chill in a classroom of 30, right? Everyone had their lotion and their tampons and their napkins, and everyone will like sit on those hard wooden chairs on purpose. You were Netflixing and chilling with the professor. Everyone dropped their pants and they were having a good time and analyzing the on a scale of 1 to 10, how arousing is that movie Blue is the Warmest Color? Or if you've seen that movie, you know that that's a funny joke. If you haven't, go watch Blue is the Warmest Color with Lea Seydoux. Thoughts?
I've never seen that movie.
You did all that. Wait, you did all that, and then you still didn't get laid until you were a sophomore in college?
I didn't say what year. I didn't say, it wasn't even sophomore. It was much later. It was like a week ago, and it was great because I had a feeling that with the debt relief that I had some extra money lying around. So I'm like, let's just get this out the way. It's midterm elections for Biden. You know, he's relieving the stress of debt relief. I'm gonna relieve the stress in my body. It's time. It's fucking time. It's been so long. Thoughts?
Never too late to start again.
You mean start again and get another predatory loan from the Department of Education?
Of course. Why not? More money, right? Free money.
It's not free. No. The second time. Listen, they relieved it once. They didn't say that they're getting rid of the process of giving out predatory loans. They put a pause until December. They're relieving people, but they're not saying that they're stopping this shit from happening again. This is the fucking problem with that generation. It's like you fucked it up. Like you caused the issue in the first place. You kept pushing the shit later on. Oh my God. Did we not learn from the Great Depression?
No.
Did we not learn from the Great Depression?
No.
Clearly, they don't understand economics, and they kept fucking it up. That's why Nixon depegged the fiat dollar from gold in the 70s.
It was because of those damn teenagers.
Exactly. Those damn kids. Nobody wants to work. There was a tweet, by the way, that went out like last month. someone they took screenshots of newspaper clippings dating back all the way to the 1800s, where people would say, "Oh, no one wants to work," and they realize that there's a pattern. They use this when something is happening economically with the government. The government makes a choice, and something where they need people to get their butts back into the seats at the factory in order to generate revenue for the corporations, in order for the government to get their slice of the pie, in order to keep the country going. So they do this in order to guilt trip people, and they make, and you see it. It correlates. It correlates. Why would I know this? I went to school. They didn't teach me this in school. They were teaching me what's the square root of pi, sigma, cosine, sine. None of that shit. I don't fucking use that shit.
A good recipe for poutine.
For poutine?
Delicious. It's the national food of Candyland.
Are you up in Canada?
Yeah.
There's a video of a man with glasses. He looks sweet and wholesome in the face, but he has like a leather outfit on his body, and he has like a pig mask. And there's a video. If you search for it on YouTube, I think they probably make it NSFW or something. And he has a plate. And he says it's poutine fries. But the ingredients of the poutine fries is very questionable.
Please tell.
I feel, well, I think I'm telling you enough. I feel that I feel like they forced me to eat a plate of poutine fries in the form of a FAFSA student loan back in the day. They made it look good, but later on down the line, it's full of shit, and it fucks up my body, and it stresses out my body. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to this edition. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to this edition of the Afties. Shout out to the entire leadership team here at meme.com. Shout out to the WIP crew, motherfuckers. You know I love each and every single one of you. And last but not least, shout out WIP fam. Shout out to y'all for sticking around, sticking through this. You know how it is. If you stick around, you get some juicy morsels, not poutine fries. You get some legit juicy morsels that you don't have to utilize in order to pay off predatory loans with. Much love, y'all. I will see you later.
Watch out for that poutine. You can join us in an hour and a half over in the Token Smart Discord for our Thursday cipher. There's some exciting Jack's Jazz going down later, so stick around. I'll see you in the Metaverse. WIP fam.